Hi there, everyone. So thank you so much for joining today's Direct Sourcing Decoded webinar. Today we're going to be talking about the next generation of hiring, which is AI-driven talent acquisition. We're going to talk through some of the impacts, some of the benefits, and then also talk about some of the features within TalentNet that we're currently leveraging AI with, and some of the benefits that it can bring to yourself and your teams. So before we dive in, we'll do a quick introduction. My name is Llewellin. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the Director of Customer Success here at TalentNet. And I also have my team with me here on the line, so I'll kick it over to them for an intro quickly as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Sathi Ganpat. I'm an account executive here at TalentNet, and I'm so excited to see you guys here today. Thanks so much for joining.
Hey everybody, this is Matt Redling. I'm a customer success executive at TalentNet, and I'm very excited to be talking to you guys today about AI within Talent Bench. Back to you, Anne.
All right, so before we get started, just go over some general housekeeping. So, this can't be a truly interactive session since it's in a webinar format, but we still definitely do want to have that theme. So if questions come up throughout any of the things we're talking about today, please drop them in that Q&A box. We have some time set aside to get to your questions, to answer what we can. If we do run out of time, we will follow up with you afterwards if we're not able to address your questions on the call today. We're also going to be having two polls throughout this session, so I think you're going to see the first one popping up shortly. Please feel free to answer just kind of some topics that we're curious about getting your input on. We're also going to be recording the session today, so if there's any members of your team that weren't able to make it, we are going to be circulating that afterwards as well. All right, so let's dive in. We'll start with the topic of AI in general, and then some of the impacts that it has specifically in the TalentNet platform. So, over the last few years, we've obviously seen a huge boost in AI. We've started to see it become used more and more in our day-to-day lives, both personally, and then I think now we're really starting to see it become integrated in some of our work tools as well, some of our workflows or different functions that we're doing, and definitely within the TalentNet platform. So when we talk about, what's the impact of that, what are the benefits? I think the first one to call out is that it's a great way to future-proof your business. I think it's pretty clear that AI is something that's here to stay. We're going to continue to see it become more and more advanced and its use to really be expanded. So especially in the recruitment space where we might just we're at the tip of the iceberg, I guess, so to speak, when it comes to using AI and starting to integrate AI into workflows. To be an early adopter of some of those tools, some of those strategies is a really great way to set yourself and your team up for success, moving forward, and make sure that you're ahead of the curve when it comes to adhering to some of the advancements that we're seeing. AI is a really powerful tool. It's something that is really adaptable. It can adapt to a lot of different uses, a lot of different needs that your team or you as an individual may have. And it's really kind of a tool that can unlock your team's potential. It can make things more intuitive, more interactive. It can help make, your team, recruiters, regardless of your role, more informed. And again, it makes all of our lives easier. So that's the first thing I want to kind of highlight. Another impact and benefit of the use of AI in this space is the efficiency that it can bring to the recruitment process. So historically speaking, a lot of those recruitment activities, there's a lot of things within those workflows that are quite administrative, can be tactical, are very time consuming. Starting to take away some of those things and have AI take them on can really boost the efficiency of a team, boost their output, give them that competitive advantage, and really open up more their time so that they can focus on some of those higher value activities, like that human connection with candidates or with hiring managers or whatever it may be, like some of those higher skilled activities. It allows them to focus their time and focus their expertise on that while having AI kind of take on some of those other things that historically would have been quite time consuming in their day. Another call out is that it can really help reduce any bias that exists in the recruitment process. And, you know, as much as we'd like to think that this isn't the case, you know, it is a lot of the times unconscious bias that exists when it comes to recruitment. So AI can really help reduce that and focus on the data, you know, the facts, the qualifications, and eliminate any unconscious bias that may exist. Another kind of impact, or I guess a key thing to point out here is that what we see now and what I think we're going to continue to see when it comes to AI in the recruitment space is that it's going to be a helper, but not an automator. I think that that's a link that a lot of people make when it comes to AI. You know, they think immediately of automation, but especially in this space, I don't think, or we don't see now, and I don't think this is going to be the case moving forward. AI is not going to, you know, take away from the day-to-day, you know, tasks of a recruiter. It's not going to take over, but it's going to supplement. It's going to boost. It's going to be a helper, you know, an assistant to the recruiter themselves that can really, again, help do all of these things that I've just talked about. Allowing them to focus on the higher value items, focus on those things that have a higher impact in their day-to-day. So throughout our webinar today, we're going to talk through a few different places within the TalentNet platform that we're currently using AI, talk about, you know, well, first of all, how it works, and then talk about kind of how it can help and the differences between maybe the more traditional approach and then an AI-powered approach to recruitment. All right, so we're going to start off with candidate matching, which is one of the kind of foundational elements of the TalentNet platform and the first place that we integrated AI into our tool. So what you're seeing here, you know, two different screenshots. The one on the left is the candidate's experience with our matching algorithm. The one on the right is the recruiter experience with the matching algorithm. So this is one that has impacts on both sides. And so that both personas here really can see the benefit of AI being integrated into this part of the process. So when it comes to like a candidate's approach or a candidate's search for jobs, historically how this would work, right? You know, a candidate has to go out and search through job boards or even talent communities and look through job descriptions, qualifications, and really kind of determine whether or not they're a match. Within the TalentNet platform, this piece of the process, which can be really time consuming and honestly kind of frustrating for candidates at times, it takes that away and reduces it to a few seconds. So in the screenshot on the left, what you're seeing here is what a candidate's view would be when they register for a talent community or when they're logging into the talent community. They're immediately greeted with a list of jobs and a match percentage to those jobs indicating how good of a fit their profile, their experience is for any of these positions. And, you know, of course, they can still click in, review the jobs, determine if they want to apply or not. But again, that task of looking through description after description to try to see if it's something that they're interested in, something that they're a good fit for, is taken away. And again, here they're presented with the top fits immediately. Another call out, which is kind of linked to the recruitment experiences, they also receive notifications in real time. So, you know, historically, again, something they would have to be on top of, constantly monitoring boards or communities for new jobs being posted. Through this matching algorithm, they're notified in real time if a new job is released that is a good fit for them and matches their qualifications and what they're looking for. Now, when it comes to the recruiter or the curator side of things, that's kind of the screenshot that you see on the right here. Historically speaking, you know, if a new role came out, a recruiter would have to spend time reviewing the role, understanding the job description, what they need to be looking for, putting together a search string, going out to job boards and really spending time searching. with the matching algorithm in place, as soon as a job is published, it's pretty much real time. It takes a few seconds for the AI to search through all of the members of the talent community and return the candidates that are the best fit for the role. And again, this is a little small here, but you can see that they're ranked with a match score. So recruitment teams are really easily able to see who the best fits for the position are, and then continue with their outreach from there. Again, something that historically could have taken hours is reduced to a few seconds. So that's just kind of the first example of the impacts that AI can have, and kind of the difference between what it would have looked like historically, and then with these advancements and with the benefits that candidates and curators, recruitment teams can see when they're leveraging AI. All right, with that, I'm going to pass it over to Sathi to talk about our next feature.
Thanks, Anne. So that brings us to our job description optimization feature, which is our latest integration with OpenAI and ChatGPT technology. This feature allows curators to really turn short and unclear descriptions and those very vague or old VMS job descriptions into in-depth, detailed descriptions that will ultimately help you find the right candidate much faster, right? This feature also enhances TalentNet's AI job matching capabilities, as Anne mentioned, allowing candidates to match to open positions based on their skill sets more accurately. Here, curators are really able to elevate their job descriptions and create a more compelling call to action, right? That is tailored to each position's ideal candidate, therefore attracting more candidates and increasing overall engagement with the new AI optimized postings. The integration is also SEO or search engine optimized. This also allows curators to really cost effectively and timely boost each unique post, which essentially helps the jobs rank higher on the job boards, increasing overall visibility. The feature in itself is such a huge time saver, right? The time it takes to write really, really good job descriptions, a recruiter can use this time to actively connect and qualify candidates instead of spending all that time and hours writing. This feature was really designed to create efficiency and increase speed and accuracy within the entire curation process. Keeping you guys, the curation team, top of mind, right? Trust me, I know I've been in the recruiter hat, I've been in that role. Writing job descriptions was the last thing I wanted to do, right? It took so much time, so tedious, so mind consuming. This feature in itself, TalentNet created this just for you guys. So with that, I want to show you what this feature looks like. The name of the game right now is really, work smarter, not harder, right? So let me take you into Bench real quick. Perfect. So here we're going to go in and select one of our recs within our draft jobs. We're going to select this IT specialist position, and then we're going to select the edit icon here on the right. And that will bring us to our jobs details page, right? So here we see the job description, all the other pertinent details for this particular job, and we can make any changes that we see necessary. So, at the end of the day, job descriptions are super crucial, right? It takes just a couple minutes with using this feature to enhance, and I'll show you what that looks like here. So, this job description here is literally just 3 lines. It's not saying much. It doesn't pique my interest. If I was a candidate, I would never apply to this job. It's not really telling me anything. So we're going to go ahead and utilize the feature here, selecting this icon here, the optimized job description button. When I click on it, it'll open up the job description within this text box here, and then I can go ahead and click generate. When I click generate, it will the feature integrates with the OpenAI technology and then creates a brand new job description for us that is, detailed, includes responsibilities, skills, qualifications, and all the really good information that a candidate looks for when looking and applying for jobs. So this description looks really good to me. I'm going to go ahead and click apply. And then you'll see the description here is within the description field. Again, this description, you can regenerate this job description if you don't like it. It's fully customizable. You can make it your own, right? This feature doesn't have to be used for each description or job. It's just here as a useful tool to enhance, right? You still have full control of the job description, and you're able to make any changes as needed. What I really want to talk about here when creating a job description to truly attract top talent, it's important to have the right content. If you don't have the right content, you're not going to target the right candidate. So if a description is too casual, or if it's too vague or doesn't match your company's culture, the odds is that you're going to see a lot less fewer candidates applying to your jobs. With this feature, it really does the thinking for you, right? Another call out here is job descriptions are especially important when attracting diverse candidates, as well as the certain demographics. So as certain words are used, it can really discourage minority groups from applying. So using masculine language such as aggressive or outspoken, for example, those often attract more male candidates as opposed to female applicants. So job postings with this type of verbiage can sometimes include exclusionary language that acts as a barrier for those underrepresented demographics. So with this, with our AI integration here, it allows you to write descriptions that are tailored to underrepresented groups, ensuring that diverse candidates are more likely to apply. This is a good example that I mentioned before, is how unconscious bias exists and how AI has been able to help mitigate those risks and enhance such tasks, as again, I mentioned previously. So with that said, this description looks really clear, it looks concise, it's well thought out. The AI creates a new job description that is, formatted for the highest level of engagement, right? Which is, again, to enhance the job matches and saves you time when reviewing and qualifying candidates. So once I'm happy with this job description and all the changes that I've made, I can then hit save or publish, just like any other job posting. And that's pretty much it. So this feature was created for you. It's super easy to use, and it'll save you so much time. So that's it for me. I'm going to pass you over to Matt, who's going to talk about our very, very new and cool feature for our TalentNet. Take it away.
Thanks, Sathi. First and foremost, hey everybody, I'm really excited to have you all join us today. I want to start by expressing how excited I am personally to be the one introducing our newest feature to you guys. It's something that our teams internally have been working on for quite some time, and we're really proud of what we've been able to achieve. The newest feature that I'm going to be talking about today is TalentNavigator. So TalentNavigator is actually an AI recruiting assistant. It leverages the capabilities of generative AI within your bench environment to be able to provide valuable insights into things like the candidates and jobs within your bench environment, but also streamline and reduce some of the administrative tasks that a curator might be doing on a day-to-day basis. One thing actually to note as well is, while we are using OpenAI's ChatGPT for today's demonstration and for most of the TalentNavigator that you'll be seeing, it actually is built to be flexible. So for whatever reason you want to leverage a different platform like Google or some other, we do have that capability as well. So the way it works is it uses advanced natural language processing to understand what a curator's questions or queries might be, and then provide some accurate context-aware responses. It's built to handle a wide range of tasks as well, everything from resume screening to performing tasks on the curator's behalf, like adding notes and drafting some messaging. This is all stuff that will be expanded upon in the future as well. So as the feature goes into production, it's something we're going to be continuing to improve upon over time. You might be asking, okay, well, who is this particular feature for? We think it's ideal for recruiters who are looking to enhance their day-to-day productivity, and as Anne mentioned, focus on more of the impactful and human-centric activities that they have. It's also somewhat built for people who are looking to improve their hiring outcomes and give themselves a little bit of a competitive edge, because it's not something that everyone will have access to. TalentNavigator itself is designed to make the curator's job more efficient by performing certain tasks and providing quick access to relevant information. It's also going to be offering some valuable and deep insights into things like job posting, candidate profiles, and helping you make more informed decisions and better articulate why one candidate might be a better fit than another for a particular position. Imagine needing to decide between two different candidates and not being able to really have the time to go through each of their profiles and dive into that very deeply. You'll be able to ask the question of Talent Navigator, and it'll provide you some context and some reasoning as to why one might be a better fit than another. Another scenario that you could be presented with is you're being assigned to a new role and you need to upskill or educate yourself very quickly to be able to respond and get working on it right away. Effectively, Talent Navigator is as if everyone on the curation team has their very own recruiting expert that can answer whatever question they have about candidates, jobs, provide coaching opportunities, and help with a variety of other things. So kind of to conclude this talking portion before we jump into the demo, I think and we think that Talent Navigator will fundamentally change the way that our curation partners recruit and serve their direct sourcing programs. We're really excited for you guys to try it out, and we're excited to see the difference it'll be able to make in your day-to-day. And so with that, I'm going to dive right into a demo environment, and we'll take a look at what Talent Navigator is capable of. So here we go. So right here, I have a familiar environment, hopefully for many of you. For those who are not so familiar, this is our candidate community. The keen observers will notice at the bottom right-hand side, we have a new button taking the place of what was the Create a Lead icon. That Create a Lead icon is now moved over to the left-hand navigation bar. And this new icon is actually Talent Navigator. This will persist through most of the pages within Bench, so you'll be able to have access to it at any time. Clicking on this button, we're presented with a familiar kind of UI interface, something that you might be familiar with if you've already used things like ChatGPT. And effectively, you have a couple of different options in here. You can start a new conversation, or you can start with some of these sample prompts to get going. One thing I'll mention before I start with the live demo is, just like a colleague, you could provide as little or as much context to your questions and your queries. And based on how much context and direction you give it, it will tailor its responses. So I'll start off with some very simple examples here. So I may want to inquire to see who are some of the top PHP developers in the talent community. And so it'll give me a list of some of those names. And right off the bat, you'll notice that it's making some assumptions as to how you'd like to see the information. So if at any point in time or any query that you put through, you'd like to see information presented a little bit differently, feel free to provide it that feedback in that context, and it'll come back and change the way that it's showing you that information. You'll also notice that certain elements here are considered links. So you can click through any of these candidate names or job titles, and you'll be able to navigate directly to the records within Bench to see some more information about them. So that's one kind of first simple example. Another example might be that I want to speak to a candidate and I want to make a note on their profile. So in this case, we'll take a look at Avery Collins. And I just want to make a simple note on her profile saying that they're available for new contracts as of a particular date. And there you go. So now we have confirmation that that has been added to their profile. So let's jump into something a little bit more complex and probably a little bit more representative of what you as curators might be leveraging Talent Navigator for on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to actually navigate over to the job section here. And let's say I am working on this job here. So in this case, what I might want to do is, let's assume that it's the first time I work on this particular type of role. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ask Talent Navigator to provide me some context or an executive summary of this particular position and some of the candidates in the pipeline. So again, it's making some assumptions on the formatting that I'd like to see, but it's giving me an overview of the role, some of the key responsibilities based on the job description, and some of the key qualifications that are required. And then from there, it's making some recommendations on the candidates that I might be interested in. From there, and because this is context aware, you can ask it some follow-up questions. So let's assume that I had some prior experience with some candidates in the community, and I'm curious to know why it might consider Jane Smith a better fit than a candidate that I've spoken to recently, in this case, Lucas Harrison. So I'll ask for it to give me a little bit more information on that. So between Jane and Lucas, it's going to provide me a little bit of a summary of each of the candidates, so Jane here and Lucas below. But it's also going to go a step further and give me some reasoning, or its reasoning, as to why Jane would be a better fit than Lucas. So in this case, it's cultural fit, attention to detail, adaptability, etc. And if you wanted to, you can continue down this line of questioning. You can ask for more context. You can provide TalentNavigator some more information so they can make more informed decisions and responses as well. And you can really continue down this path, just like you would with a colleague that was sitting right next to you. So a next scenario that we might want to take a look at is, I am going to interview Amelia Cooper for this role. So I'm just going to set the stage a little bit for TalentNavigator and let it know that. So I'm going to ask it to help me prepare for this interview. So again, it's making an assumption on the format and the type of information I might be interested in. So it's going to show me some professional summaries, some of the candidate skills, work experience, etc., alongside the job overview. It's going to suggest some interview questions. And at the bottom here, I want to ask it some follow-up questions about specific interview questions about the candidate's PHP experience. So now, as I'm preparing for my interview with Amelia, I'm going to be reviewing, okay, here's a question I could ask, and then here's a sample answer. And if this is kind of one of the first times I've been working on this type of role, I'll be able to see if Amelia's answer follows the style or the content of the sample answers. It'll help me make determinations as to whether or not Amelia knows what she's talking about, if she might be a good fit for this particular role. And then to round out my preparation for the screening or this interview, I might ask TalentNavigator to highlight some potential gaps in Amelia's resume so that I might be able to ask some additional questions during the time I have with her to get a better understanding of how good a fit she might be for this position. So based on the resume and the requirements, some potential gaps would be things like leadership experience, experience with modern front-end frameworks, so on and so forth. And there you go. So now I'm feeling quite prepared to kind of go into this interview with Amelia. And at the end of it, I'll have a pretty good understanding of how well Amelia will fit this particular position. Another real world scenario is, let's say one of the candidates I've put forward for this position had their interview and the manager's given me some specific feedback about what they liked. So I might say something along the lines of, Maxwell received some good interview feedback. The interviewer specifically liked that he had some software architecture experience. And I'll ask TalentNavigator to find me some similar candidates based on that so I can suggest them for the position as well. So it's going to work on giving me a list of various candidates, as well as a little bit of a summary for each one. And I may also want to go a step further and ask it a follow-up questions. So from this list, I want to know who has the most architecture experience. And there you go. So it's making the recommendation that Leonardo is going to be the one that I should focus on. And then from there, I can go and I can schedule the interviews. I can use TalentNavigator to do that if I wanted to, and prepare some additional questions that I might want to ask. And I'll just kind of end with one supplemental example. So thinking outside the box, I might want to ask TalentNavigator where I can find the most value for money candidates or software developers in the United States. And you'll notice that I'm using kind of some informal kind of phrasing here in terms of bang for the buck. And that's mostly just to illustrate that TalentNavigator is going to be looking at the context. It's going to understand what you mean by certain phrases. So you don't have to be too concerned about how you're writing. it'll be able to kind of work through that for you and get you the information you need. And so from here, now I've got a variety of different locations within the United States, and I might go a step further and ask it to provide me some names of candidates that might reside in Austin, Texas, as an example. And then here you go. So now I've got a couple of different names of candidates that reside in those locations, as well as the summaries that I expect. And again, as always, you can provide additional context and feedback so that TalentNavigator can provide you the responses in a way that you find valuable and that'll allow you to make the right decisions. So there you go. So before I flip back to Anne, I think one thing I've learned actually leveraging TalentNavigator as I've been testing it and playing around with it is as a tool, it's extremely powerful. And I think one of the only limitations that I've noticed is my imagination and creativity as a user. So when you do finally gain access and start being able to leverage this new tool, I would encourage you to get very creative and use your imagination with the types of questions and prompts that you put into the tool. And I think you'll be surprised at how interesting and how useful those responses will be. And with that, I'll flip it back over to Anne.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. So some really exciting stuff. AI is a huge topic. We spent some time talking about some of the like existing features within TalentNet and then also TalentNavigator, which is something new. We're currently in beta with that and are looking to do a wider release later on this year. But again, AI as a topic, especially in the talent acquisition, recruitment, direct sourcing space, is just really exciting. Again, this is really kind of the direction that we're going in society in this space as well. And AI is really part of our core strategy here at TalentNet. So that's something that we're going to be continuing to advance upon and continue to try to find more ways that we can integrate tools similar to this into the platform, into your day-to-day to just make your lives a lot easier, enhance your efficiency. And again, really kind of core important piece of this is enhance your ability to be able to focus on those really important things like that human connection that can never be replaced. Like this quote says, that creativity, that empathy, that emotional connection. AI is a really powerful tool. It can do a lot, but that's something that it can never take on. So again, no matter how advanced that we within this space or in society in general become when it comes to AI, I think that's really important for us all to remember that it can never be a replacement for that. It can never take that away. And we to kind of collectively, remember that that's really what has the most impact. That's really what matters, especially in this space, is to maintain that human emotional connection with candidates, hiring managers, really anyone that's involved in the process here. I know we didn't have a lot of time today. We did kind of a high-level overview of some of these things, especially TalentNavigator. Matt did a great job showing some of the different kinds of examples that it can do, but there's a lot more to it. So we are going to be at CWS next week. If anyone is going to be there, please stop by our booth. We love to talk about this stuff. It's very exciting to us. So we'd be happy to do more in-depth demo or kind of show you one-on-one more of what some of these things can do. And then for any of those who aren't going to be at CWS, that offer is still extended. We're happy to set up time one-on-one to do a deeper dive into any of the things that we went over today or any of the topics that we talked about. All right, so with that, I think we are going to move over to Q&A.
Hi, everyone. So I'm just going to quickly introduce myself since I'm now joining our live session today. I'm Kelly Bird. I'm the marketing director here at TalentNet. And if you have any questions during our Q&A, please drop them below in the Q&A box. We'll try to get to as many of your questions today as we can. If we are unable to, our customer success team will follow up with you directly to further discuss. So with that, we're kicking things off with Anne. How customizable are AI solutions for different industries or types of roles?
Well, I think that that's actually one of the key benefits when it comes to AI is that it's actually something that you don't really need to worry about. It doesn't need to be customized in that way. Especially with something like Talent Navigator, which Matt was showing us, it's already inherently coming to the table with that knowledge. So if you have a certain job description that's calling for experience in a certain industry, it's able to understand that. And so when it looks through candidate resumes, candidate profiles, it will not only look for, skills or qualifications that match, but it will look for that as well, that context of, does this industry match? So yeah, again, huge benefit. Great to hear. Not really something that you have to worry about when it comes to AI. And I'll mention job description optimization as well as another example. Again, in that language, if that industry specific language already exists, that's something that it's able to understand and keep as a focus, even in an optimized way. So again, it really does understand that context.
Perfect. Thank you, Anne. And question to you, Sathi. How does AI impact the candidate experience during the sourcing and hiring process?
I think that AI is a total game changer when it comes to the candidate experience and in sourcing and hiring overall, right? It can provide personalized job suggestions, real-time updates. It makes the whole process smoother and just more engaging. As I mentioned earlier, you can get notifications instantly of candidate matches, and this helps you to free up your time, right, to connect with talent. This means, less time on repetitive tasks, more time for meaningful human interactions and relationship building. Plus with the AI reducing biases, the hiring journey becomes more fair, right? More inclusive for everyone. At the end of the day, it's all about creating a more connected and enjoyable experience for everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Sathi. And question, tossing it out to you, Matt. How can AI be used to personalize communication with candidates? And if so, how?
I love this question. So it absolutely can be used to personalize communications. It's actually part of the core functionality of Talent Navigator and generative AI in general. There's a couple of different ways that I would approach kind of customizing or personalizing communications. The first would be, and remember, Talent Navigator specifically is designed to kind of take your feedback, and you can engage with it and ask it questions and really tailor its responses to you. So that first kind of example that I'll give is you could ask it to draft a communication, whether it's a text message or an email or what have you, and just provide Talent Navigator that feedback. If you don't like a specific phrase, if you don't like the tone, as an example, you give it that feedback and it'll rewrite it for you. I think this is kind of one of the ways that many people use ChatGPT in general. So I think a lot of people are familiar with that. But a second way that I've used Talent Navigator, I've used to kind of personalize or customize communications in Talent Navigator is you can actually provide it some writing samples for it to emulate. And these could be samples of your own, emails, your own writing. It could be, fictional writing. It could be anything you want, really. It could be something you've written. It could be something a colleague of yours has written that is, particularly effective in the context that you're looking to send the message or what have you. So there's a lot of different ways that you can leverage AI to personalize communications. The important thing to remember is that you're never locked into a response. Just continue to provide it the feedback that you think it needs in order to give you the type of response you're looking for.
Thanks, Matt. I think we can all put our hands up. I know I definitely can to using ChatGPT to help refine an email or help write an email. So I love that. You can also use it in Talent Navigator as well to do the same. So Anne, question to you. What are common mistakes to avoid when implementing AI and direct sourcing?
I think the first one I'll call out is I'll use Talent Navigator again for the first example, kind of in a similar theme to what we were just talking about. What you're going to get in terms of a response from a tool like that really is dependent on the kind of input that you give it. So I think a common mistake could be not giving enough context in what you're putting in, or kind of skipping information that like seems obvious to you, but think about the other side. It is doing its best, but the more context you give it, the more guidance you give it on the type of information that you're looking to get, the better response that you're going to have. The second call out or thing that comes to mind for me is, again, this is definitely a theme that's come up throughout, but this idea of AI completely taking over tasks. Like, yes, it can do a lot, but I think that oversight is still always going to be needed, to fact check or to use your individual expertise to make sure that what it's providing is, first, what you're looking for, accurate. That applies to all different areas. The job description optimization one, I think, is a good example of that. It does a really great job returning a description, but you want to make sure you're always still proofreading, still making sure that it is what you want to put out, rather than just completely automating it and having it make that decision to put it out without your review. So definitely things to keep in mind. Again, the importance of that human touch, cannot say it enough.
Totally agree, Anne. And question to you, Sathi, how can we train our team to adapt to new AI tools and processes?
I think that training overall is vital. I think that training your team to adapt to new AI tools and processes, it starts with creating a culture of curiosity and continuous learning. So TalentNet here, we're more than happy to provide hands-on training sessions with all of our clients and curators, to focus on real-world applications of our AI tools within their daily roles. So we want to encourage an environment of learn by doing, that type of approach. So whenever you have the time, reach out to our team member, and we are more than happy to have you experiment with the tool in a safe and supportive environment. Again, keeping communication open to address any concerns about AI is also important. As I mentioned, again, emphasizing that these tools are here to enhance your day-to-day and not there to replace you at all. So as I mentioned again before, the team will benefit from AI taking over the repetitive tasks and freeing up your time for more creative and strategic thinking. So just connect with your dedicated customer success executive, and they'll be happy to help you navigate through everything AI at TalentNet.
And question to you now, Matt. What data is it pulling from? So I guess what data is TalentNavigator pulling from to assess rank of quality?
Yeah, sure. So it's actually leveraging data within your bench environment. So it's going to be the candidate information, their profiles, the jobs, etc. And it's going to be using the match information that's available through bench as well. Now, in contrast to our matching algorithms and the AI we're using for that, TalentNavigator is going to be able to give you the reasoning behind some of that information as well. So like I was saying before, I would encourage people to be able to go and really press TalentNavigator as an example on why it thinks a certain way to see if it matches kind of your reasoning, and it provides you the context you're looking for.
Perfect. Thank you, Matt. And we are now going to start wrapping up today's how-to session. Again, we will be sharing this recording with you at a later date. And we encourage you, if any further questions you may have, reach out to our team. And if any of your questions were not answered live today, we will be following up with you directly. And with that, Anne, I'm going to pass it to you for some your closing thoughts or tips or tricks or advice as we close out today.
My closing thoughts, which has definitely been my theme of thought throughout this session today. Again, AI is so powerful. The things that it can do are really cool. It can really boost. But I want to really emphasize this idea that it's not meant to take over things. It's, that recruiter being in control is really, really important now. And I think that no matter how advanced AI becomes, it's still going to be a really irreplaceable piece of this process. So I just want to stress that this idea of this integration of AI is meant to be like an assistant, like a boost in your pocket, but just keeping that in mind when you're kind of using it to leverage and kind of boost your productivity. But this idea that, it's going to completely take over is not going to, happen. That human connection is really at the core of what matters with candidates, with hiring managers. That's just something that AI can never replace and is really so important.
Perfect. Thank you, Anne. And if, again, reach out to our team. If not, we'll see you next week at CWS. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.